Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning from Finland, in any case, where it is 6 a.m. And we have our full moon coming up in 13 hours from now and 15 minutes. It will be at GMT time, 4:15 and 31 seconds in the afternoon. So we still have good time to prepare, even if you may be asleep during part of it. Here we have before us some of the associated images. This is not only the Leo Full Moon Festival, with all of its brilliance and opportunity to realize the nature of the self at whatever level we may be working, but it is also the Sirius festival, and you see here a beautiful image of Sirius. It's an actual one. Interestingly, it has of course that's a visual effect, but it has the cross. It is in many respects the cosmic Christ, at least with respect to our local cosmos system, in the one about whom naught may be said, that great being for whom constellations are as chakras. And so we see the radiance of the sunshine of the major sun, as it is called. Sirius is 33 times more luminous, that's the latest figure that I have, than our sun. It is the initiator of our solar system and deeply connected with the Great White Lodge on our planet. Our little planet is strangely very connected with this fantastically luminous source. Sometimes DK talks about it as the supreme influence of Sirius. At least for us it is. And so much of progress on our planet at this time has to do with the impulse, the initiatory impulse from Sirius, which extended to Venus, which extended to our planet, which extended to our solar angels and the little globe upon which we live. Here's the constellation we see, and it's only 8 light years away. Of course, that's really a tremendous distance in terms of human possibility at this time. But it's one of the neighboring suns in the 7 solar systems, of which ours is one, and I do believe we're all part of a great solar plexus center in the greater God, called the one about whom naught may be said. Here we see Hercules. He is, let's see here. He's wrestling with the lion, and that lion is the lower self. So he becomes the lion who seeks his prey, 2 levels of the lion. And we have to learn to corner our lower nature, actually through self-observation, which there is plenty in Leo through its powerful 5th ray and also its detached 1st ray. We see the sunflowers here, the Leo flower, and we see Apollo, the god of the sun, with his 7-stringed harp, which represents the 7 rays. We see really in this rather simple figure the rampant lion, the lion who is standing up and declaring himself as the one identity. The I am phase of Leo is being subdued down here in the lower right-hand corner. The I am that, the soul is the wrestler, the one who has to come to grips, that's Vulcan again, so close to the sun which rules Leo, come to grips with the personality. And finally, the great identity is the rampant lion. Here are the rulers of Leo in the Leo banner. I am that and that I am, or even I am that I am. You know, when the name of God was asked, and it was given, I am that I am. And the rulers are here found at the ordinary Orthodox level. The sun representing the principle of selfhood, but in a limited sense. Then comes Neptune representing the heart of the sun, and then Uranus representing our monadic nature, the central spiritual sun. There is a beautiful, let's see if I find it here, text here, the image by Francis Donald. We have a couple of images from 2 years of work, and this is representing the theme of group initiation, which you normally might think of as occurring in Aquarius. But in fact, Leo gives the sense of unity, the unity of one's inner group. This is all in the deep Neptunian blue, and the figure before us is the Christ. And he is really central to every participant in the group initiation, although the figure does not allow that kind of presentation. As Francis says, within a great field of Neptunian sixth-ray, electric blue energy, the Christ prepares a group for initiation, and with him we see the perspective of the initiate directly before us. Each member sees the Christ as if directly before him. And this is a function of group sensitivity. We know that Sirius is called the brilliant star of sensitivity. And the key word for Leo is also sensitivity. Sensitivity, I would say, to what is the true self and what is the not self. Of course, eventually, there is no not self. This is a final lesson that we begin to learn. So when Neptune is connected with Leo and the sun veils Neptune, we have the second initiation theme operating. But the man prepares for the first initiation in Leo and takes it in that sign. And, you know, if you really think about it, you could look at every initiation of the 5 that we deal with, maybe even the 6th, and we'd find a place for Leo and for the sun. When Neptune is active in the advanced Leo subject, then emotion, desire have been transmuted into love, aspiration, and are oriented to the soul. The entire emotional or sensitive nature is responsive to the energies coming from the heart of the sun, and the disciple is ready for the second initiation. The heart of the sun, what is it? Really, it's the egoic nature of our solar logos, and the correspondence of it in our nature is our own egoic lotus on the higher mental plane. For a deep understanding of both, we can read group initiation. So there is a related theme here, says Francis, describing Leo's progressive sensitivity. There are found numerous stages in which occurs an expansion of consciousness that leads the unit step by step from self-recognition to the recognition of superior selves, to the fitting himself to be likewise recognized as a superior self, and eventually to the occult recognition of his own superior self. Of course, that is the monad. He comes to recognize his higher self or ego as his true self. And when we talk about higher self, really, if we take it as far as it can go, it is our essential monad or being. And from that stage passes on into group consciousness. Here he realizes first his egoic group and then other egoic groups. And I'll just go down through this so you can freeze this if you want to read it. I haven't time to read everything right now, but this is what Francis has written about the group geometry. Very interesting things. and you can freeze frame this, and also there it is. So that will allow you to, and finally I'll read this. In the perfected Leo, the loving self-conscious soul, second ray, carries its power of expression straight through from its own plane to the plane of exterior manifestation, but preserves at the same time its interior control, and that's Uranus. Think about Uranus as the planet of interior control. It's namely a first-rate planet in its deepest essence, and from that point of achievement proceeds to make its ideal objective, Neptune, a fact in consciousness through sensitivity to the higher vibration and directed intelligent service of the plan. So this is the image, bringing us into the sense of the group possibilities. The entire hierarchy is recognized by Sanat Kumara at the time of the Leo-Sirius full moon. And of course, Sirius can be contacted at this time as never before. Really, it takes the third initiation individually to contact that particular energy. But every time we are working through Leo and thinking of initiation, we are contacting the Sirian energy in a transformed and stepped-down manner. Here is the another image by Francis. It's called The Burning Ground. It's really quite marvelous image, and I'll read a little bit of this. Just first take a look at it. We see the epsilon figure here, which he also deals with, the letter E, epsilon, and its association with the number 5. What is said is girded by a belt emblazoned with the signs of the zodiac. Here we see it, this belt. An indicative of a completion of a cycle of preparatory lives. A white-robed disciple stands before the great Sphinx, which has for ages represented the relationship between the higher and the lower mind. Sekhmet, in her role as initiator, presides, and notice her lion's head and woman's body, which is the reverse of the Sphinx's iconography, which has the woman's head and the lion's body, as two differently emphasized representations of the relationship between Leo and Virgo. And indeed, when you're looking at these two signs, sometimes one is superior and sometimes the other. In the burning ground, we see that Sekhmet, who in ancient Egypt was known as the mistress of the sacred eye, who purges the chamber of transformation, that fiery purging power is so much found in both Leo and in Sirius. She has sent forth the eye of Ra, and I think you see this flow of energy. And eventually this is significant at the fourth initiation. From the innermost petals of the lotus staff she carries, Ptah, her consort, appears. It is said that Sekhmet polarizes the creative fire of Ptah by burning away the dross resident in physical matter with the purifying light of the sun. This is so Syrian, the burning away of the dross. And perhaps at this time, the Sirius festival is never easy. We will feel in ourselves the burning away of that which stands between ourselves and the true expression of our spiritual identity. By this action, Sekhmet consecrates matter to spirit, and so the disciple briefly glimpses the burning ground through which he must pass. He sees the way leading through the heart of the lotus, beyond the purifying flames, eventually to Sothis or Sirius. Isis, Sothis, Sirius, these can all be considered equivalent terms, which cosmically rules Leo. There are many triangles that I've been studying, and probably you've been studying, where Leo and Sirius are found together. Here represented by the Uraeus atop the Sphinx. So let's see if there's... this is so interesting. I'll just read this much, and then allow you to look at these quotations by Master DK. The burning ground. The burning ground is depicted in this month's image. As depicted, is enclosed by a symbol derived from the five-pointed star. Now, I think I can show you this in the second. Yes, let's see if we can find that. There it is. This is the epsilon, and if you look closely, you'll see the five-pointed star behind it. It's an aspect of the five-pointed star related to the number, to the fifth letter, epsilon. This symbol is shaped like an E, the fifth letter of the alphabet, and we know the number 5 is connected with Leo and is associated with humankind. Leo, the most human of all the signs. Note the passage formed by the two lower legs of the symbol lead into its upper triad. The symbol has 4 sides, which could be seen as representing the lower quaternary, and these 4 sides plus its 5 points or corners equal 9, the number of initiation. Okay, you study that. The first opening in the lower right-hand corner of the symbol, guarded by Horus in the burning ground, can be seen as representing the Libra reversal, the way that leads between the two great lines of force. I suppose this is the first opening here. It follows then that the second opening represents the second birth, or first initiation. From this point, the line of the symbol moves counterclockwise, finally culminating at the third initiation. At the third initiation, under the rod of the one initiator at the apex. And this symbol indicates both the causal body and the burning ground that finally consumes that causal body. And as DK says, man is the path himself, and also the pilgrim upon the path, and thus does he burn, but is also the burning ground. It says the Leo subject treads this burning ground with will and self-effacement. We are dealing with very powerful energies now, very powerful. And especially with Uranus in fire signs, and next year Jupiter goes into Leo as well, which will form a very important triangle, Sirius, Jupiter, and Leo, the triangle, one of the major triangles of the hierarchy. So our opportunity now is to come in touch with the sense of being part of the hierarchy. We might say, you know, how is this possible? But I would like to say that it is possible, and I'll show you what I mean. If you look at this diagram of the spiritual hierarchy of our planet, you will see that within that great circle, the blue circle of hierarchy, are included people on the probationary path, the various grades of disciples, and the 4 grades of initiates up to the rank of the 4th degree. So this is the time, you know, Leo often on a lower turn of the spiral is involved with the issue of recognition, self-recognition and the recognition of self by others. But this is a much higher meaning here. It's Sanat Kumara, recognizing and putting the seal of recognition on all those who are participating as members of this august body. It's a great hint by DK. He uses the word august and August interchangeably. Usually the full moon is in the month of August, or it's called the August full moon. And so the seal of recognition goes out in August to the august body of the servers of the race, who are members of the spiritual hierarchy. All right, well, there's so much to say. We've been conducting here a 2-day webinar dealing with Sirius and with Leo, and it's a profound subject. So here we are. We're just entering that period of the day of safeguarding. 12 hours before, we're in this period of receiving and holding, and then come the days of distribution, where in the 7-day process, registration, sense of expectancy and belief will sequentially be expressed. But now we seek to open and hold the descending energies and allow their purifying power to prepare us for true membership or affiliation with the hierarchy in whatever level we find that affiliation. Coming from Shambhala, you know, come purification, destruction, and organization. And now we're dealing especially with the purification that relates to the second ray. So, we begin. And we withdraw our consciousness from the personality and its vehicles. We recognize ourselves in doing this as the unit of consciousness, the unit of being we are, the soul in incarnation. It's as if the outer vehicles, which include the emotions and the lower mind, are simply our instruments, and they drop away. We drop our sense of identification with them, related to Leo is the yogi method about I am not. Leo is all about I am, but also I am not. We can only discover what we are by what we are not. And we are not the instrument. As we withdraw from it and discover ourselves as if within the causal body, our truer home within the egoic lotus, the world of light and love and power. And here we meet each other. Geographically separated as we are, it makes no difference. We meet each other on the level of soul. We feel our deep relationship and our unity in the group soul. And this group soul includes now the members of the new group of world servers all over the world. Our solidarity in soul with such serving souls. And the men and women of goodwill in their millions. And finally, all of humanity as one soul, touching those in incarnation or out of incarnation, it makes no difference. One presence, one sensitivity, one being, And it's very true of Leo when we learn to say, "Naught is but me," a great second ray mantram. And we wear away the sense that we are this isolated individual with a particular physical, emotional, and mental apparatus, and we find a deeper level of identity. We find the I am that identity. And that is that which unifies us. So wherever you are, in whatever circumstances, whatever surrounds you, find that deeper something which is shared by all, and which finally is all. And so we're in that field, that soul field. Connected as one being and one consciousness, ideally. And as we advance on the spiritual path, it becomes more and more of a reality. So we focus in our illumined mind within the soul field, and we realize that this point of focus, which is shared by the group, is the basis of the group Antakarana, which is our bridge of light, which will connect us with still higher energies. And we strengthen this group point of mental focus through the will to initiate from the soul, the will to unify from the soul, the will to evolve from the soul, the will to harmonize from the soul, the will to act from the soul, the will to cause from the soul, the will to express from the soul. Each one of these wills connected with one of the 7 rays, but the group has them all. And we are at a point of mental tension supported by will and the light of the soul. We feel as if we are soul infused as a group. Something is added to our group sense, that presence. In the Antakarana, it's a magnetic connection, it's a mathematical connection, it's many things, but we visualize it as a stream of colored light, multicolored light, but for each one of us, the color of our soul ray and of our personality ray. Red for the first ray, indigo second, green, blue, yellow, green for the third ray, yellow for the fourth, orange for the fifth, rose for the sixth, violet for the seventh. A 2-strand rainbow bridge. And feel the quality of those colors, the colors you choose, or choose indigo if you are not certain. It is the color of the great second ray. And the bridge seems to extend upward or inward. Touching the points in our higher self, we'll call it the spiritual triad. Touching the abstract mind, which is under development, and the intuition under development, and the spiritual will under development. And anchoring itself as if within this center of blue-white light, the monad, the spirit. And all the many strands, all the many dual strands of the group's rainbow bridge are as if coming together, all the colors represented. The rising is cone-like towards the spirit itself, our sense of being, so subtle. Not being anything, but simply being. And across this rainbow bridge, we will vitalize it with intense white light. We will project in the third phase. And we will think to ourselves, I see the greatest light. And this will connect our point of mental tension that the group shares with the higher aspects, even the spirit, finally. So with 3 ohms, we think, I see the greatest light, the second ray word of power, as we sound the Om outwardly. Om. That great light is so connected with Shambhala, with Taurus, the mother of illumination, and with Leo, where the will to illumine is carried from the one fundamental school of occultism in Shambhala. A great interior light in which other forms of light are revealed. And the light comes to us until we shine like the sun, inwardly and eventually outwardly. And in these higher energies we are as if in the presence of the great ones who make their own preparation, for these full moon periods. We cooperate with them. And when we offer our salutations to the Great Ones, which actually was a method of meditation that Master DK also presented to his groups, we express our solidarity, our will to cooperate, our will to understand, our will to be co-workers with our elders, the graduates of the human family, who were once as we are now. Salutations to the Christ, the Master of all Masters. Salutations to the triangle of masters with whom we most closely work, the Master M, KH, DK. Salutations to the Master Morya, the head of all esoteric schools and organizations. Salutations to the Master KH, whose ashram is preparing for the reappearance of the Christ. He will be the Bodhisattva of the age of Capricorn. Salutations to the Master DK, who trains disciples for initiation, the messenger who has given us the blue books. Salutations to your Master as you know him to be or believe him to be. Salutations to the entire spiritual hierarchy of our planet, the Great White Lodge, which is the reflection of the far greater White Lodge on Sirius. We think inwardly, deeply, toward Shambhala, which even the whole hierarchy must approach as a group in order to distribute the terrific energies. But we think, at least imaginatively, toward the center where the will of God is known, and identified as a group. We seek in all reverence and humility to attune with the presence of Sanat Kumara, the king of Shambhala, standing at the very center of the council chamber. We attune as much as may be possible for us as a group with the will of Sanat Kumara. We ask that this will infuse our lives at this time, so important to humanity, so that we may carry out the plan, that portion of the plan given to us and to our groups, and so on our own small level we may become custodians of the plan in reflection of that greater group in hierarchy. We are working within the will and the love of God, the planetary logos. We recognize ourselves not as a collection of individuals, but as a point of light, of love and power. We are as if a point. And we are ready to go deeper, to follow the golden path which leads into the indigo sun, which is our door of entry into the higher worlds. That path is shortening, and we move with it, with the golden path together as one, until we merge within the indigo sun and we are in the midst, and we feel that. And here we find the supportive presence of Master DK, his consciousness, which understands so well the many planetary, zodiacal, hierarchical energies, as we as a group seek to come en rapport with the energies now available to us. Our approach first to the planetary rulers of Leo, really the triple sun, the solar god, but in his relationship first to Neptune esoterically, the deep blue of Neptune, and then to Uranus, the violet of Uranus. These two greatest of the synthesizing planets are veiled by the sun in esoteric and hierarchical Leo, and it is the sun, the solar god, the Most High, the One, he who stands alone, Helios, the sun as the great symbol of our personal self, our individual, egoic, higher self, that unites us and unifies us. And finally, the sun as the one, the monadic self, the spirit. We are told that we find our true home within the sun. Can we conceive this? When we look at the sun, which shines every day, whether we can see it or not, due to the obstructions of our own nature or earth nature, the clouds of our inner psyche, when we look at the sun, can we imagine our spirit home within the sun? Can we see our groups filled with this solar sun power? Radiant groups, Leo groups in the field of Aquarius, Aquarian groups in the field of the One Self. We need the solarization of our lives, that we will truly represent solar fire, and not just fire by friction. And as we stay and deepen our sense of this great solar orb of the blue logos, as it is called, our attention goes to the planet Neptune, wherein the solar flames are stored. They are focused now within the heart of the sun, the soul nature of our solar god. This beautiful blue planet, if you've ever seen the blue of Neptune, how deep it is. Connecting with Venus. And through Sanat Kumara, who is the Lord of Venusian love in Shambhala. And through the Christ and his hierarchy. And through the group soul, our own soul nature, our own inner 12-fold zodiacal sun, and through the heart and the head center, and through the heart center. All this is a Sirian line. Neptune, one of the major planets through which Sirius expresses in its role as the brilliant star of sensitivity. And we ask, can we be sensitive to soul in all things? So during this time we increase our sensitivity and we imagine this Neptunian sensitivity. It is Sirian, it is solar, it is Neptunian, increasing in our groups. Melting the ordinary ego into the sense of love and communion and oneness. This field of Buddhic love which becomes available to us when we understand the heart of the sun and Neptune veiled by the sun esoterically. In our groups, that sensitivity flows into our groups and helps us relate to everyone in a new way, a soul-sensitive way. But Uranus is yet another planet, the hierarchical ruler veiled by the sun, electric fire. More a turquoise orb than a deep blue orb. But here on the logoic plane, the divine flames, responsive to the central spiritual sun of our planetary logos and solar logos, here they are found. Here there is a sea of electric fire on the logoic plane. And this too Leo conveys. The sea of fire into which our liberated monad will find its place someday, when there is a resurrection of the real kind. This sea of fire passing through our monadic nature, through the spiritual triad, through the jewel in the lotus, at the heart of the sunflower on the higher mental plane, and through the crown center, and eventually the base of the spine. Electric fire from Uranus and from the central spiritual sun, the fire that we must come to know one day. And in that fire we will realize the identicality, the occult oneness of all. The world of being and the ultimate archetypal world on the cosmic physical plane, the logoic level, the lower world will reflect that as we respond to Uranus, veiled by the sun in Leo. And the head center will become radiant and powerful. And our sense of purpose will grow. And so into our groups this energy flows. Though little of it may be absorbed as yet, it is the great galvanizing power. The transcendental qualities flow in. And they strengthen the groups. And you respond to your archetype, your truer name. And in that electric shock, so many false identities fall away. And at least imaginatively we find ourselves in the electric fire of spirit. The sun, the heart of the sun, the central spiritual sun, the triple identity. We raise our consciousness towards the great solar logos and beyond, to Sirius, the star of freedom, the star of karma, the star of sensitivity, the sunshine of the major sun, purifying the groups, and they need it, and the world needs it. And this allows us to pass on then towards Leo and towards Sirius, which seems in a way to focus its energies through Leo, through Regulus, 3 streams of energy. And there are 3 great orders of lives on Sirius, we are told, which we symbolize as the blue lodge. The light of the soul emanates from Leo, a reflected point of light, logoic, reflecting the inner identity or monad. A point is revealed. For people like ourselves, that point has been revealed, and yet it is really the monadic point ultimately. And so, in Leo, we meditate upon the self. Is it I am? Is it I am that? Or is it I am that I am? I am that, and that I am. And so, together, in relation to this great constellation and its energies and the power of Sirius, we ponder, I am that, and that I am. What is that? That which I am. Can we touch the that which I am? this great identity we all share, this one self. Can we isolate this self and begin to understand isolated unity? This is the thought that must continue to grow over the next 12 hours as we move towards the Leo full moon. Sensitive to that which I am. I am that, and that am I. What profound spiritual perception it requires to isolate the that beyond our normal ego, and even beyond our higher ego. So let us work on this. Let us be more receptive to it as the hours go by. Let it be our key thought in this period, leading up to and even following the full moon. And let the light of the brilliant star of sensitivity encourage our realization of I am that, and that am I. From the central spiritual sun, the head center of which we can look at as the Pleiadian cluster of hundreds of stars, on out through its chakras, through the Great Bear, to the Little Bear, through Orion, and through our own 7 solar systems of neighboring stars in which our sun plays its role, as does Sirius. Into the constellation of Leo, into our solar system, touching Uranus of electric fire, Neptune of solar fire, entering Shambhala, touching us in the spirit aspect, entering the hierarchy, touching us in soul, through the heart and the head center, into the heart, and really from there into all the other chakras. The great energy flows. It is so needed by humanity now, this sense of who one really is. Humanity is suffering from a case of mistaken identity, and most of us suffering from that as well. We wish for the world that when people think about themselves and their relations, they understand more deeply who they really are and who everyone else really is. And we try to see this, people coming to an understanding and dropping their false identities. And entering into the real identity, which includes us all. We'll sound the Om as we see this happening. We have just 12 hours, almost exactly 12 hours, before the full moon, a very important one. And we seek to intensify during that time our sense of the One Self. I am that, and that am I. And so together, we will sound the great invocation, holding the point of tension which must intensify if the real self, whatever we want to call it, one can't really call it anything, but we use the word that. If the real self will be known, so that under Leo we may say with meaning and understanding and identification, I am that, and that am I. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Okay, friends, thank you for being here for this meditation, and we will, with Brett's help, we'll distribute it soon, so you can use it either for the full moon or for times after the full moon during the days of distribution. And meanwhile, have a deeply significant full moon at it's 4:31 p.m. GMT. So just a tiny bit less than 12 hours from now. Okay, have a great day and a excellent full moon, exact full moon meditation time. And here, many of you have the link. We will be giving a broadcast, not a webinar, but a broadcast with music at the time of the Leo full moon. And we will begin that at looks like 6 o'clock our time, 3 p.m. in GMT. Okay, we'll see you now, and bye-bye.